NASCAR first visited Clay Earl's beautiful half-mile Martinsville Speedway in 1949. First race won by a World War II flying ace, Red Byron. NASCAR has raced here 121 times. Trackside live at a historic NASCAR venue.
Little track, a lot of smack.
Today, NASCAR's at the short track that thinks it's a super speedway, the shortest track on the circuit and perhaps the most action-packed at all. Look how they funnel down into turn one.
I've got to make the right moves on pit road. This racetrack, you've got one option here, and it's really, really quite simple. Somebody's holding you up, you got to move them out of your way.
Patience is a virtue. Not many virtuous drivers in that 43-car field today.
Trackside Live welcomes you to NASCAR's version of Chicago's Wrigley Field, set in a neighborhood off Highway 220 in South Central Virginia. The Martinsville Speedway hosting races since 1947. Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Steve Burns, and Elliott Sadler. It's another home game for the Virginian.
A home game.
Yes, sir.
And the home people showed up. Look at here.
That's
Great
right.
crowd tonight.
Man, what a difference a week has made in the weather. Look at us in short sleeve shirts. Last week, 4 jackets wasn't enough. But you know, last week was a home game for most all the Sprint Cup Series teams. And I know we had all talked about Talladega being the race that would probably really change the complexity of the points. Little did we know Lowe's Motor Speedway was going to shake the points up. In the first 4 races of the chase, every week it was 7, 8, 9 chase guys finishing in the top 10. Last week, we had 4 chase guys finish well outside the top 25 and a couple of guys that were right in the thick of things like Montoya till he had his problem last week.
I just think the 48 car showed again. Guys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to run good. You just try to come get us. And then Montoya having problems with Mark Martin, sending those guys behind points that they could not afford to lose, Jeff.
No, you're right about that because of the fact that as dominating as this 48 car has been since the start of this chase, I mean, it just kind of compounds the fact you can't afford to give up anything when it comes to these guys. I mean, we talked about it earlier today during the practice shows. This team has scored 40 bonus points. I mean, it's just incredible. Twice as many as just about anybody else. And the thing is that when you think about performances, we've looked at the last few years how good this 48 team is, and all of a sudden we're thinking, they're better than what they've been in years past. Can that happen? And we're watching it happen each and every week. And this weekend, you got to think they're coming back to a racetrack, Steve, where he's been so good at in the past.
5 out of the last 6.
5 out of the last 6. I mean, how much better can you be?
I don't think this is walking out on too thin of a limb at the end. Rick Hendrick will be sitting at the head table in Las Vegas, some shape, form, or fashion to celebrate the championship.
Well, let's take a look at our chase standings, brought to you by Wrangler. Jimmy Johnson comes in here with a 90-point lead. And, Elliott, during our practice show today, I think we all kind of agreed it's about a 4-horse race right now.
It is, and these guys are just not making any mistakes. Chad Knaus, Jimmy Johnson, who didn't have the best car all week long last week, but when it counted, got his car up front, got the track position. Jeff Gordon had an amazing run last week. Mark Martin having some problems, but still kind of close, guys. Martinsville kind of, you can talk about wild card this, wild card that, but you cannot throw these races away. You got to get all the points you can.
Elliott, what's going to help maybe these guys that are needing some help like Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart is Jeff Gordon is starting up there on that front row while he finds his teammate back there in 15th. And again, we looked at numbers today. I think 6 out of the last 7 have been won from a top 10 starting position. The furthest back it's ever been won is in 2002 with Kurt Busch. So not going to say Jimmy can't win this race from 15th, but they've got their work cut out for them because they don't have at least that preferred pit stall, which is number 1 at the end of pit road.
And to put those point standings in perspective, because a lot of people, quite frankly, are saying that the championship is Jimmy Johnson's. In 2006, Jimmy came the furthest back, 146 points with 5 to go. The good news is it can be done. The bad news was it was Jimmy Johnson that did it.
I honestly believe, though, the only team that can beat the 48 team
is them.
Is the 48 team.
Exactly.
You have gone out on a limb again.
That big old limb.
Wow.
Cat Knaus is going to be looking for you.
Ring. Hello, Vegas. Hey, got a great show tonight from the Camping World Truck Series. Johnny Sauter and Timothy Peters. But straight ahead, the Biff, Greg Biffle will join us. We'll get his view on the chase and racing at this historic racetrack.
Trackside is presented by new Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines, brought to you in part by Lumber Liquidators, hardwood floors for less, and by Camping World's Destination Recreation Sweepstakes. Log on to campingworld.com/racing. This is the last week to enter for weekly giveaways. This week, win one of 5 Honda generators.
Greg Biffle is a 14-time winner in NASCAR's Sprint Cup Series, trying to become the first driver to win in all 3 of NASCAR's Premier Series as a champion. Please welcome the driver of the number 16 Ford for Roush Fenway Racing, Greg Biffle.
The Biff. All right, guys.
Walk right in, sit right down.
Yes, sir. How are
Now,
you?
I just want to let you know, real quick.
All right.
Be ready to fight the bugs tonight. I mean, this warm temperature, they are back out. They're flying all over
Flying
the place.
all over.
So you got to kind of fend for yourself. I'm not going to help you out
All right,
there.
you must smell good or something.
I do.
He put on some Brute by Fabergé.
Yeah.
Look like they're all over there by Elliott.
So what about today? I mean, not quite the qualifying position that you were looking for. But
I mean,
what
20's
do you
not bad,
think?
right?
It's not terrible, but it's not number one.
It's not number one. No, you know, we didn't do any qualifying runs in practice. So that's why it's way down the chart in practice. So this is the first time we put it in qualifying trim right here. And we stayed in race trim the whole time just because we felt like we want to try and get a little bit of a head start, get me some laps around this racetrack. Remember last year we didn't have much practice with all that rain, or in the spring. So that was our first qualifying run. And, you know, it's so tight
2.5 tenths.
that
Between
1/10,
yeah.
I'd be 10th.
Exactly.
You know, or better. So we were close. It's probably just me, you know, first qualifying run. Probably in a while here, I think.
Yeah, because we have been rained out here
I'm
quite
going
a
to write
bit.
that down. Driver said it was him.
Oh, it's my fault.
Greg, the last 2 races at California 2 weeks ago and at Lowe's, you've brought the fans to their feet late in the race, but not in the way that you wanted to. You've been pretty exciting coming down through the front stretch grass.
I'm telling you, I feel like I'm sponsored by Cub Cadet. Like, I have been mowing some grass lately, and 3M's probably getting mad at me because they don't make lawnmowers. So, you know, we just last week it got tight up there in the top, and you know, Strimmy hit the wall. I saw him hit the wall, and I tried to move down and give him a little bit of room, and Ryan was inside of me. And you know, that's really, you know, I guess that's nobody's fault there, but Fontana Kurt hit the wall and got Casey Kane and into us there. That one hurt worse because it tore the splitter off, and we had some troubles. But you know, 20th and 16th place finish, and we're running in the top 10 both
Exactly.
races.
Yeah.
So that really hurt.
Greg, you've said the last week or so that you realize that the championship isn't a reality this season. When I look at your season as a body of work, you know, you've got 9 top 5 finishes, so it seems like a season of near misses.
It is, you know, in Kansas, probably the latest of our near misses, you know, from a win. And, you know, probably my fault again. You know, should have taken probably 2 tires. You know, you can always go back and look at it. But, you know, we've had a great run this season, I think. You know, making the chase is the highlight of our season. You know, we had a good enough car, and we ran good enough to make the chase. But we haven't been strong enough to do anything in the chase worthy, you know. And we're working hard at it, and we're coming around as a company. You know, but, you know there's something wrong. Carl, 9 wins last year, no wins. So we're working at it. It's just not easy.
You know, you bring that up about Roush struggling a little bit, but you guys have been carrying the banner, I think, for Roush Racing. I mean, you and Greg Irwin. How much do you have to build on for next year? Is it something that you can put your hand on and say, we need to be better at the 1.5 miles, so we need to be better at short tracks? Is there
I know you got work to do, but is there one thing, Greg, you can say will help our company next year?
You know, I think that we've really been working hard at the front bump stops and front geometry, and we're learning a lot about that. Different spring packages, you know, like Kansas. It worked well at Kansas. We took it to California. Didn't work very good. So we're learning, you know, we think what some of the other teams are doing, possibly Hendricks and those other teams, we're learning it, but we're way behind. You know, we really need to do our homework. With no testing, it's really hard for us to get there. We have to test when we're at the racetrack. And so that's what we've been doing some, is trying to test at the racetrack.
Well, you talk about that. I know this past week I talked to your crew chief, Greg Irwin, said you guys went down to Little Rock and you took two cars down there, and basically the whole Roush Fenway group, and I think some of the other 4 teams were there trying to figure this out. And you actually went outside the Roush Fenway camp and got a car kind of modified with one of the other car builders, put a different snout on it. So you are doing that, but it's just hard to do because you can't come to these tracks. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's probably the hardest. You know, if we could go test, you know, a couple times, you know, I think we could really, really science some stuff out and get it going. But you got to get to a good racetrack where you can really test that. And, you know, you need to get to a place like Charlotte or Texas or some place that's fairly consistent. You know, not Atlanta, you know, someplace that's going to stay the same.
We'll have more with Greg Biffle coming up. Meanwhile, we want to remind you to locate campgrounds near the Talladega Super Speedway. Visit GoRVing.com. You'll find virtual RV tours, a free DVD offer, and RV dealer and rental locations in your area. More with Greg Biffle after this.
Wipe All Wipers are the crew chief's choice for replacement of shop towels and rags around the garage area. Well, last week's winner of the Wipe All Wipers Crew Chief of the Race Award was none other than our friend Chad Knaus. Chad, awesome performance by you and the 48 team at Lowe's.
Yeah, thanks. I tell you what, the guys did a great job, and it was nice to take the Lowe's Chevrolet to Lowe's Motor Speedway and be able to run the way that we did so close to Hendrick Motorsports.
You know, I hate to put it like this, but the last 2 weeks, you and that 48 team have pretty much wiped up the competition. But at Lowe's, a dominating performance because you won all the practices, sat on the pole, and in the end, when it came time to go, well, you pretty much went.
Yeah, it did. It was difficult, though. You know, we were fast off the truck. The car was really good on the short run, and we started the race, and it was really fast for about 30, 35 laps, but then it would just like hit a wall and slow down. So Jimmy really had to get really picky about what the car was doing and really break down the racetrack for us well. And Greg Ives and our pit crew did a really good job during the race to make the right adjustments. We had to make some pretty big swings at it, but once the end of the race came around, we had it about where it needed to be.
Well, we wind up here this weekend at Martinsville, Virginia, a place where you guys have won before. Can you make it 3 in a row?
I know we can. It's just a matter of whether or not the circumstances fall the way we need them to. You know, the car is going to be great. It's a winning car that we've got here. Obviously, Jimmy gets around here very well, but you just don't know. It's 500 laps around a little bull ring like this. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, all I can say is he's a former year-end winner when it comes to the Wipe All Wipers Crew Chief of the Race Award. So, you know, it's a cool thing to have Chad Knaus here with us today, but can he make it 3 in a row?
Well, we've heard from Chad Knaus regarding last week's win for the 48 team. Let's take a look back at race number 5 of the chase with our Inside Sprint Cup mobile moment.
Radio check 1 2. 10-4, got you. Check 1 2. I got you there. You got me okay?
Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to chilly Charlotte. It's going to be a fast and fun night tonight.
Bet it's nice and warm inside that race car. Kind of. It's still not warm yet. It's better than certainly where you're at.
You got no idea.
Yeah, I imagine up there it's pretty tough. Try to get as much heat in those tires as you can. Awful cold out here. All right, I'm back with you. Simple. Had to put on more clothes. We all know what we want, man. They don't give any points halfway, though. Let's get to the end.
They are sprinting across the start-finish line. Still side by side, Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin to turn 1.
Even with you outside. Doors, right rear, clear.
Still around your bumper. You're clear, clear, clear. Awesome job on that start, bud. Awesome job. Thank you. 3097, pick up 210, sir. I will come down pit road and strangle you if you're going to be like this. I was trying to tell you did a good job. Blowing up, go up, go up, go up, go up, go up, go up. Okay, go.
What the hell blew up?
The 99. Guys, each and every one of you, I owe you an apology. Bob, you don't say a word, buddy. We got 16 wins because of your brain. We're a team, guys. We will move on. You ready? Easy. Easy, stacking, stacking. Nope, 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 nope. Green. Come on. Stay in line there.
Juan Pablo Montoya is in big trouble.
There's only 4 cars on the track behind you. Desperately need a caution here in a little bit. Do you think if I hit the fence I can fix it? No, we've separated the bumper from the quarter panel. I wouldn't hit it because it might knock it in on the tire. Yeah, it's gotten tight again. It may have something to do with that front end, I don't know. It runs harder or running fast than it does running slow. Yeah, it's that 4 grip the 6 set does.
Remember your blend. Coming outside, got a pack of 4 coming. Outside, 2 wide. Outside, all clear.
I lost the ignition box getting up to speed. I had to switch it over.
That's a good job coming off that road if you had all that going on.
For Jimmy Johnson, the 6th time he will take the checkered flag at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Unbelievable. Woo! Perfect weekend, dude. Passed at the qualifying every practice session and won the race. Awesome job.
And Jimmy Johnson's 17th win in 55 chase races.
I heard you talking about being realistic as far as catching the 48 car or whoever, as far as winning the championship, and might not be realistic. The last 5 races, what's the goal of 16? Just any chance you can take, whether it's 2 tires gas, just throw caution to the wind. Let's try to get in victory lane. Forget the points. What's the difference in 5th and 10th? Is that the kind of mentality you have now?
It is. What we're trying to do, we're trying to win a race. I mean, obviously, and you know, it's tough for us, the situation we're in, but we got some good tracks coming up, and we feel like we keep improving and working on this thing, we'll get up there. We feel like we can reach, 5th, 4th in points. Our goal is to finish as high as we can in points right now, and take some chances, try and get some wins, but yet we want to, try and keep ourselves up there in the points.
Greg, I mentioned you've won championships at other levels. I mean, from the very beginning in the Northwest and on up the NASCAR ladder. How important is it for you to win a championship at the Cup level?
I mean, it's really important. I want to win a championship here, and it'd make a trifecta. I'd be the only guy so far, but I left the hardest one for last to do. But we keep working at it. We'll get it. It's going to be tough, but I got some more tries.
Greg, getting away from the chase and even away from Cup racing for just a little bit, we've watched you over the years. We've seen all types of features where you've really enjoyed getting and going out in the desert with your desert buggies. Mm-hmm. Caught on an interview last week, and I could see the excitement in your eyes that you're actually going to run a race this offseason in a desert buggy, I guess.
Yeah, I'm going to run a race in the Raptor, the Ford Raptor truck. The Raptor R, I'm going to run Best in the Desert race in Henderson, Nevada, and it's 3 laps. So you think, it's not very far. It's 3 laps, and it's 80 miles a lap. So it's 240 miles.
You have one of them guys that do this in the truck?
Yeah,
what's right or
I
left?
feel bad for the guy that's going to ride with me, but
somebody does ride.
Oh yeah, somebody rides with me.
Now, how do you practice an 80-mile?
Yeah,
that's what I said. I think we get to do 1 lap. And I'm going to do that on Tuesday.
Okay.
It's December 5th is the race. It's right
Make me
after
1 lap.
yeah. Make it a good one.
You get a couple hours.
You actually get a chance to pre-run it.
I get to pre-run it. Yeah. And I don't know how you remember 80 miles. I don't even remember how I got here today.
Wow.
I turned left down there or something. So.
Well, the thing is, they got the onboard computer.
Yep.
That's what's going to help you.
Yeah.
I pre-run these things before. I went did one last year, did a pre-run with Brendan Gaughan in Las Vegas. So I got a pretty good idea of what's going on. But no, I'm not riding with you.
Like if there's whoops coming up or something like that, they'll tell you, you can go flat.
A beeper.
I'd ride with him. I'd ride with him in a heartbeat.
They use skull and crossbones to market.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go with him?
I'd ride with him in a heartbeat.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, Ellie, let's volunteer Larry to go.
Yeah.
All I need
Larry.
is be a helmet.
Greg, you said you don't know how you get here. We're not even sure we're on the air right now.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
We are? Okay. Then I'll go to commercial then. We'll be back more with Greg Biffle when Trackside Live continues from Martinsville, Virginia. Stay with us here on Speed.
The Wipe All Wipers Crew Chief of the Race has been brought to you by Wipe All Wipers. If you have rental shop towels or rags at your business, replace them today with Wipe All Wipers, the crew chief's choice. Go to wipeall.com/speed to find a distributor in your area today. Inside Sprint Cup Mobile has been presented by Sprint. Stay tuned to NASCAR 7 days a week with in-car audio, live race radio, stats, and more with NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. It'll change the way you experience the race. Visit sprint.com/speed to find out more. Only on the Now Network.
Back in Martinsville. Martinsville, Virginia, Trackside Live, spending time with Greg Biffle, Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Steve Burns, and there's a big Elliott Sadler fan right there in the crowd. We're going to open up the Shell Garage, and Greg Biffle's going to take us around this tough little bull ring.
I don't know if you want me to take you around. All I know is you need to use a lot of brakes right about here. And, you know, too much speed in the center. You know, you'll roll the center and back to the gas up off. And that looks like a pretty good lap. I'm either doing really well or not going fast enough. So you got to watch the curb in the bottom. You know, you get tired down on the curb and it shoots you up the racetrack. But a little wiggly off that corner.
Yeah, we showed you one time in practice where you really had a tough time hooking that 3,500 pounds up off the corner.
Yeah, you know, we were trying some different stuff in and out. And a couple times in turn 1 and 2, we got it turning really good, you know, and it turned down and kind of got the curb like on before exit, you know. So it was, we've got it to turn too good and then not good enough. So we're going to try and get it right in the middle.
When you're racing, I know with Daryl and other guys I work with, especially here, you know, they didn't mind you talking to them and saying, hey, float it in, save those brakes, float it in.
Yep.
That friendly reminder, hey, you're overdriving a little bit. Does that bother you, or do you feel like, you know, does it mess up your concentration?
No, it doesn't bother me. It really helps for somebody to try and help you, you know, remind you of things. You know, be easy on the brakes. You know, don't overcharge. Because you charge the corner, you're trying to get the thing stopped, and everybody's driving off already. And so that's probably my worst thing at Martinsville is overcharging the corner.
Daryl said piece of advice for both of you. In like a lamb, out like a lion.
There you go.
You know.
And like that, yeah.
Write that
Can
down.
I put that on the dash?
Write that down.
And like a lamb.
Hey, I was looking last week. We had like a Greg Biffle Day, Foundation Day.
Yeah.
So I was looking around trying to find some information, and this is what I saw, like in the NASCAR magazine today.
Yeah, I don't know how that got in there, but
We know who does like all the real work with the calendar, which I think the calendar is awesome.
yeah, the calendar does really good. But I brought you guys. You know, it's getting close to Christmas.
Ah.
So
We like Christmas gifts.
Is J.R. Robertson
Get your hands
here?
off.
Yep.
Did he make the calendar this year?
Yep. So we got the new NASCAR pet calendar out, and you know, GregBiffleFoundation.com. We're real proud of it. It's got all the drivers in it. Carl's in it. Jimmy, Dale Jr., Burton. And speaking of Christmas, I got some. You know, I always have that dog hair in my car and everywhere else because I let take them everywhere with me. You got some fur fighters from 3M.
I need these.
Oh,
This is the
3M
car version.
product.
It will.
I'm gonna need a lot of these.
There you go.
Hey, the question I got besides the dogs, does it work on deer hair?
Yes, it does. Works on deer hair. Works on just about anything. Lint, whatever. So
That's cool.
Very cool.
Greg,
Cool.
Yeah.
it is.
thank you, Greg. We've talked a lot about how your career started. You're building street stock cars,
Yep.
building cars for other racers, and it grew from there. But what I find fascinating is today you're still very hands-on. You love to fabricate things. You've got some property where you've got an old gas station, and
Yeah.
just, you still like to build things with your hands.
Yeah, I really do. I love to fabricate. I learned how to weld and do all that when I was, you know, real young, 6, 8, 10 years old, and working in my dad's shop, messing stuff up probably more than anything. And that's where I got to working on cars and then all kinds of stuff. But I still really enjoy doing things. I'm building the gates and the fencing for around my property, and just kind of for hobby. Enjoy doing it, and you know, it gives me something to do. A little solitude, you know, like getting out and doing things.
I know one thing you enjoy doing. You've always been very adamant about this. You enjoy running the Nationwide Series. And this
Yeah.
year you have 14 starts. You've had a lot of success there this year. 2 wins, 9 top 10s. But Kansas was kind of eventful. You qualified 3rd, but you got greedy on that 2nd lap. But it was pretty impressive. You came back with a backup car to get a top 5.
Yeah, we really did. We had a really good car. In fact, I was catching, you know, Kyle Busch at the 18, which is rare, right? So I'm catching Kyle, and, you know, Joey Logano dove down in there, made it 3 wide going into 1, and I lost my left front fender a little bit. So Kansas, I thought we had a chance at a little bit better finish and ended up 5th, which is still a great run for us. But I had so much fun driving the Nationwide
Are you
car.
going to run any more this year?
I'm done this year. We're done with all the scheduled events we're going to run. But I'm working on a deal for next year. Don't have anything concrete yet, but working on putting together a 10, 15 race deal for next year. I love that series.
Cub Cadet.
Cub Cadet. They should be my Cup sponsor.
Yeah.
Greg, thank you very much.
Thank you guys for
Appreciate
having
it.
me. Appreciate
Best of luck the rest of the season. Camping World Truck Series teams are here. They race at Martinsville. You'll see that at 12:30 tomorrow. Coming up, 2 of their competitors, Johnny Sauter and Timothy Peters. Johnny Sauter has gone from 14th in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series points to 5th in just 5 races on the strength of 5 top 5 finishes and a win at Vegas. Johnny Sauter, the driver, the number 13. Fun Sand.
All right, Johnny.
We even got a sign there that says Sauter for president.
Pretty strong, isn't it?
Wouldn't you know, they had to be one of my own guys to say something like that.
That's
so.
good support.
Yeah.
Hey, that's okay. It don't matter how you get it done. You make it happen. That's a good thing. At least they got your back.
Congratulations at Vegas.
Thanks a lot, guys. That was a first, obviously, for me, but first for a lot of people. First for Duke Thorson, and first win, I guess I should say, for the 13 team. Obviously, he won with Matt Crafton to Charlotte last year, but another first for Mike Kerb. He's never won in the Truck Series before, so that was pretty cool. That was pretty big.
Johnny, you've got experience in the Sprint Cup Series, a winner in the Nationwide Series. What do you like, or what are you enjoying about the Camping World Truck Series, and can you compare them to the other two?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that separates the Camping World Truck Series from the Sprint Cup Series is everybody seems to be on more of a level playing field. The technology hasn't, the big money, the big technology hasn't trickled down to that. So, everybody seems to be on more level playing field. You can work on your stuff and get there, and we won a race. I mean, that's obviously the goal every week, but I feel like we can win more. So it's a good time. Everybody races hard and just has fun.
Johnny, every one of us up here understand the importance of teamwork, but more importantly, the relationship between the driver and the crew chief. Joe Shear Jr., who you have a great history with, he came on board with you guys 5 races ago, 5 top 5 finishes from 14th to 5th in points.
Yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I mean, I've known Joe Shear. His dad raced against my dad, obviously, in the Midwest there for years, and just grew up watching those guys. And we first got together back in 2001, I believe, and won the ASA championship together. And 2 of my 3 nationwide wins are with Joe, and just got all the faith in the world in that guy. If he tells me something's going to work and I believe that it's not, and I'll go with it. You know what I mean? Today.
Well, if you didn't, he's made a believe right out there.
Yeah, I just great guy, good work ethic, and he's been a great leader for my team. I got one of the best teams I feel like in the Truck Series garage, and we have a good time. That's what it's all about.
Johnny, I want you to tell us a little bit about your sponsor, because you need to understand that Steve's got a young lad that likes to play outside, and we got your future father right here in Elliott Sadler. He's got a kid on the way. So
Hammond and I love to play in the sand.
I don't want to hear about that. I hope that's with clothes on.
Together.
That's a whole different show.
I don't know where
Whole
his
different
show.
show.
Okay? But I want you to tell us about your sponsor. I mean, it's kind of like a pretty unique little deal.
Yeah, it is. And essentially what it is Duke Thorson, my owner, owns Seal Master, a company up in Sandusky, Ohio, which is where our team is based out of. And kind of stumbled on Fun Sand a little bit. He's into horses, and it's essentially a dustless sand, and it's available at Menard stores and whatnot, but it's for kids. I mean, for sandboxes and whatnot, and pretty cool stuff. People that touch it and play with it, we got some on display down there. They just are like, this stuff's pretty wild, So it's pretty cool stuff, and I was going to bring you some samples, but it's pretty hard to carry.
He would have loved
4 or 5 gallon pails up here.
I'm not sure I want to play in their sandbox.
Steve, don't put me in the same box with him.
You just said you got to play
He did.
together. Speaking of playing in the sand, isn't this the time we usually look for Rutledge?
Where is Rutledge?
Yeah, speaking of
Hopefully he's
sand.
not in the motorhome lot.
Hey, Steve, listen, Rob and I have been working on something all day long. You are going to love it. It's coming up in just a little while. We've got costumes, there's theatrics, Michael Waltrip. It's going to be great. So make sure you stay tuned. We got lots more Trackside Live coming at you. Can we do more of that?
Trackside Live back at the Martinsville Speedway. A beautiful fall evening. Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Steve Burns, and Elliott Sadler spending time with Johnny Sauter. Johnny, you mentioned the ASA series. I met you, I think it was in 2000. You were just getting your feet wet, and I could tell the intensity. You know, back then you were sleeping at the shop and getting mad at guys who weren't working as hard, and you've always had that intensity. Has that changed at all as you've maybe matured or gotten older, or do you still have that same fire? Is that what drives you?
I mean, I still think I have the fire. I just probably ain't, or I'm not as vocal about it, I guess you could say. You know what I'm saying? You just, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I want to go to the racetrack all the time, sit on the pole, lead the most laps, win the race, and it's just always been that way for me. And I just, I guess when you feel that way, you expect it out of everybody. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you don't maybe feel that way or whatever, but I heard somebody just say Wisconsin, so that's pretty cool. But, I want to win. You know what I mean? And playing it simple, and that's what it's all about.
Johnny, you mentioned your dad, Jim, very successful racer, and you're one of 12 kids. About all the boys raced, Jay, Tim, all of you. But old Dad had a little bit of a house rule about racing school. None of you really started at a real young age.
Yeah, that's people ask me all the time, what'd you do? Did you start in go-karts, this and that? And I'm like, actually, I was 18 before I started racing, and I actually think I convinced him to let me at least build my car while I was 17, so the second I turned 18, I was ready to go.
Because no racing until school was done,
That's right, yeah.
Graduated.
Just want to make sure we, I think he knew how he was when he was growing up and probably spent a little more time on his racing than he did his schoolwork. So, you know, he was definitely somebody that pushed you to make sure you got your schoolwork done and then you could go play with the race car, so that was pretty cool.
What about the future with this team? I mean, we're going to see you back here again next year, and then is there opportunity maybe to move up to nationwide or even get back and run some Sprint Cup races?
Yeah, I mean, I went ahead and we got our deal done. Obviously, Duke was gracious enough to give me an extension, so looking forward to coming back next year. Feel like with the momentum and the way we're running right now, we can make a run for a championship. So it's pretty cool. A guy like Duke, I mean, he's been in the truck series for 12 or 15 years and spends a lot of his own money to do this, which is pretty rare, especially nowadays. So looking forward to next year, and whatever the future holds, as long as we're competitive, that's all I can ask.
I saw you mention Mike Kerb's name earlier, and we all know he hired a guy in 1979 named Dale Earnhardt to drive for him. Is that pretty cool, racing with somebody like that has an eye for talent, has been around the sport a long time, somebody you can kind of lean on?
You know, Mike is one of those guys that's kind of the silent, you know, guy that comes to a couple races and nobody really knows he's here or whatnot. But he's been a big supporter of mine. I mean, even going back to the nationwide days a few years ago, and just loves racing. You know, he puts his heart and soul into it, and has been very successful in the sport. Yeah, that was a good day.
You said that's one of your more special moments ever in racing, right?
That was big, because not a lot of people know what, you know, Kerry Agajanian and Chris Bybee and all those guys put into that program. I mean, we had 3 full-time employees and 2 cars, and to be able to win a nationwide race, that was a pretty big deal.
Fun night.
Racing Matt Kenseth just drove by him.
You know, getting back to what Larry said about your dad and the legacy that he put down, your brother Tim, who's raced for a long time, said that, you know, you used to go with your dad, or he used to go with your dad to work, and he said we'd be 3 hours away and going, how much further is the racetrack?
Yeah, it was I get to hear all the stories, obviously, and my dad was kind of done short track racing while I was growing up or whatnot, but I spent a lot of time with Tim and Jay, obviously through the ASA and the ARCO days, just you know, working in the shop, trying to cut my teeth, so to speak, and getting educated. But pretty cool. I mean, a lot of people don't understand we come from a town of 800 people, so racing was it. We didn't play sports, we didn't fish, we didn't hunt. All we did was race, so that was pretty cool.
And go to school, Larry.
And did do that.
Yes,
go
we
to
did.
school.
Yes,
per,
we did.
per Dad Jim.
Hey, congratulations on the contract
very
and
much.
a great run
Thank
the
you.
last 5 races. Good
Thanks
luck
a lot,
in the
guys.
standings.
Appreciate it.
Coming up, one of Johnny's competitors in the Camping World Truck Series, Timothy Peters, is here when Trackside Live continues from Martinsville, Virginia. Timothy Peters comes into tomorrow's race here in Martinsville, 9th in points on the strength of 11 top 10 finishes for Red Horse Racing. And welcome Timothy Peters to Trackside Live in Martinsville.
Come on in here, homeboy.
What's happening, guys?
Doing all right?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
I'm great. How about you?
Man, what about this weather and these fans?
Real quick, let's just go ahead and dive off in here. You're back here at Martinsville Speedway. I mean, pretty much South Boston, Martinsville. These 2 tracks kind of made who Timothy Peters is, because you won some big championships and some big races here.
Yeah, I love coming to Martinsville, especially the late model race up here. It's helped me a lot. Elliot, you've ran it a bunch of times up here. South Boston, Orange County. It's helped me to get where we at today, and just what a year it's been. And to be back here at Martinsville, the weather we have, the way we're running in front of these fans, hometown crowd, it's awesome.
I just right quick, I want to add, I'm really happy he's driving for us. Really proud of him. It's a good thing.
The opportunity.
I think you got a good man. You know, you mentioned winning the late model race here, and we know that's like winning the Daytona 500 or late models. But it seems like you got your big break in 2005 and part of 2006 when you drove for Bobby Hamilton Racing. How did you get hooked up with Bobby Hamilton?
Actually, the end of the 04 season, the Bailey's Tobacco family had been a big supporter of mine over the years, and late model stock car racing. And towards the end, we all had a big meeting with Mac and Stephen Bailey, and he said, let's try to go do some trucks. And we actually went to Pikes Peak and tested with Jim Harris, and Bobby Hamilton was out there at the time as well. And we just kind of hit it off from there. And going into Christmas, I was like, wow, I'm actually going to drive for Bobby Hamilton in the Truck Series.
Wow.
Timothy, you know, looking at your season, 6 of the last 7 races have been top 10s. And, you know, racing, all these guys will tell you, is such a momentum sport. Do you feel like with 5 to go, you feel like you get to the track? I've heard guys say that when you get hot, it's just fun to go to work, fun to go to the track.
Well, you know, I was fortunate enough in June to be able to come over and drive for Tom DeLoach. And since that first race at Michigan till now, it's been, I mean, he spoiled me. I tell him every time, he spoiled me because it's fun getting used to running good and winning races, in contention to win races. And the people, all the way from the fab shop to the guys here at the track, they put these trucks together, and it's good quality trucks, and they're proud to pump their chest out, and I'm glad to be driving it.
I remember when you first came out of Legend Cars and came to South Boston racing late models. We were all there in Orange County running the big race here at Martinsville. How surreal is it now to be able to run in one of the top NASCAR sports at your home track? I remember the first time I came, was it more nervous? Are you more excited about it? Is it more of a cool thing? Kind of what's the mentality the first time you got to come here like in a truck?
Well, the biggest thing was I had to come here, and I wanted to get all the respect to everybody, to know that I want to be raced, and I want to race them the way that they want to be raced. And we just came in. I was nervous as can be. I was shaking like crazy, but my dad always told me, he says, if you don't have butterflies, then something's wrong with you. Yeah. And we did what we had to do, because I had to get approved in this race to be able to go to St. Louis the following week. So we finished on the lead lap. We finished 15th, and it was a breath of fresh air at the end of the race, knowing that we got that one out of the way.
Okay, I need for you to explain something here. We're used to seeing you driving the 17. Now you're in the 1, and and also I want you to jump off and to tell us about what's been going on with the 1, because you had some guys driving that 1 truck a couple weeks ago that are pretty famous internationally.
Right. We Premier Racing this year, I had 8 starts for these guys, and we had the 17 number. We couldn't get that number, so we registered as the 117. And as long as they didn't show up, we could run 17. Well, they're here this week, so we had to run the 1. So I feel confident Talladega and the rest of the year will be 17. So we put the 1 on. We had Vitor Miro and Nelson Piquet Jr., 2 outstanding open-wheel drivers. And it was just kind of cool to work with these guys, because look at especially Nelson running Formula 1 and Vitor in open wheel for A.J. Foyt. These guys were just as humble as they could be and very eager to get in these trucks and see what they could do.
One thing I want to bring up is your sponsor, Strut Masters, because every time I go to South Boston, Orange County, and see local guys racing, they're on the side of cars. They really support their local racers here in Virginia. How proud are you that those guys have made the step with you to the Truck Series?
Chip Lofton has been an awesome supporter of me this year. We started our relationship at Homestead last year, and strutmasters.com is awesome, and I thank him and for sticking with me, because he has his son Matt Lofton that runs in the Pro Cup Series, and he's helping me too. So a lot of thanks goes to him for being on the side of that truck week in and week out.
Well, with Timothy Peters coming up, want to remind you that NASCAR Race Day is here in Martinsville. JR, Jimmy Spencer, Kenny Wallace, Hermie Sadler, Wendy Venturini will be with you at 11 a.m. Sunday here on Speed from Martinsville, Virginia. More with Timothy Peters right after this.
Trackside is presented by new Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines. Brought to you in part by Go RVing. Go affordably. Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com to get started on your road trip adventure. And by Orbitz. Visit Orbitz.com today and save.
Next Friday, we're in Sweet Home, Alabama. Larry Max Peoples are in town. Carl Edwards and Kevin Harvick, 7 Eastern, live here on Speed. We're back with Timothy Peters, and fresh out of the production truck, Rutledge has wandered in.
Hey, guys.
That's nice.
I just want to take some notes. I just want to get more of a feel from the desk side.
Silence is
We
gold.
were not talking to you.
Okay, I'll just make some notes.
Can you be quiet just
Go
for
ahead.
1 second?
Go ahead, you got it.
Look, I got to ask you this because we both have the same background. How often do you get to go back to your short tracks here that you kind of grew up on? You get, because the truck schedule, you had a few open weekends. Do you ever get to try to go back to South Boston and watch the guys race?
I didn't get to go back to South Boston, but right after Vegas, they had the big 300-lap Bailey's race up here, and what an action-packed race! It's kind of cool to come back and watch those guys battle it out. And Larry Brandon had an awesome run.
He really did. I was very proud of him. Very proud.
Still to this day, one of my favorite races I've ever raced in. That Bailey's 300.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Clay Campbell and Mike Smith put on a good show for these guys because it's their Daytona 500.
Wait a minute, Timothy.
What
are you doing, Rupp?
I was just making some more notes.
I understand, but what?
Look, I've been slaving away all day. I tried to put something fun together for you guys. You know, it's our big Halloween party next Saturday night after the truck race. And I hope you like it, but I really put a lot of effort into this. You should check it out.
I'm sorry, I love trash. We're having a big party. Everybody's going to be there. It's right after the truck race. Come join us.
What kind of candy are you giving out?
Really good candy, like corn dogs and cheesecake. You want to borrow this for Halloween?
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Hope no one's feeling nauseous. Pickup's not till Tuesday.
Aren't you a week early for this?
Will you tell your mom and dad to come to our Halloween party?
If you're there, I'm there.
I love you. Man, that dog had fresh breath. You like Halloween? I appreciate you loaning me the tights, Jeff. That was really cool. Everybody's funny when you're dressed up like a trash can, aren't they? And I wanted to invite you to our Trackside Live Halloween party.
A party?
I'll have a different costume. I'm not going to go as you. Trackside Live Halloween party. You dress up. It'll be the time of your life. I'm Oscar. Get it?
Yeah, you're not much of a grouch.
Get out of here. Go to practice. See you guys.
Oh, Rutledge, you better put on a good party next Saturday night, a special edition of Trackside. You've been selling it. You've been working.
Man, I'm ready.
Are they really going to show up?
Oh, yeah. You guys are, too. You guys got to wear costumes. It's not just everyone. It's everybody that goes.
Now,
Fans, everybody.
Do you not get the memo?
What?
I ain't telling.
Oh, no. What's the...
You're supposed to be the host. You
Hey,
should know.
the trucks are in Talladega. I know
told
it's
you.
after the truck race.
Come on
You
over.
come really have a good time.
You got to have a costume.
I told you it would be acceptable if you win the race and then go as the race winner and then just cover people with champagne. That's cool. That's a good
That'd be
costume.
cool. We can do that.
Or dress up like a monster.
Rutledge, that doesn't work. Remember, Halloween's about kids, too, so you got to be careful. You can spray milk.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Spray
Hey,
no
family show.
So you wouldn't tell me in the back about your costume, so is that a hint?
That was just we have a daughter and that's all we watch. It seems like is Sesame Street. So that was just my first attempt. It was a warm up.
I hope he throws
It was a good
those
look for
tights
you.
away.
I give him back to Jeff Burton. He really wanted him back.
I like the guy at Sesame Street. He goes,
You don't laugh. This is gonna happen to you before you know it.
It's going to change.
I know it's coming. The Wiggles, everybody.
Hey, Timothy, will you ever possibly come back to our show again? Just
Hey,
maybe.
I hope I can.
If he's dressed up in a costume, he can come Saturday night at Talladega.
You can play in their
You and your
sandbox.
wife ain't getting ready to have kids now, are you? Because, I mean, he's got kids. All our kids are grown up. I mean, you know.
In time, right?
In time.
That's it.
Thank you guys for letting me come on.
Thank you, Tim. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Coverage of the Camping World Truck Series begins with Chris Devoda at 12:30 tomorrow.
Oh!